From the Bob Mills Weather Center, meteorologist Stephen Nehrenz.
Some good tips there for sure. Now, if you're stepping outside here at the lunchtime hour, it's more of the same. Sunshine, temperatures getting a little toasty, very little wind, and the early summer-like feel, and waiting on the potential for, you guessed it, a few more pop-up thunderstorms to show up in spots later this afternoon. Not necessarily everywhere. Of course, they've been highly isolated the last few days, but if you've gotten under one, you've noticed it, right? And we've got that chance again later on. 87 warm degrees and winds again are calm. And as we've said over and over throughout the week, that's that kind of ideal, unfortunately ideal setup for the development of some of those pollutants to start kind of building at the surface, the ozone, ground level ozone to build up as well. Our air quality still in the moderate category, still in the range that we want it to be in. But this is generally the trend we do, and I mentioned this yesterday, I mentioned it a few days running now, that typically what happens is really the peak heating of the day gets going and more of those kind of chemical reactions start happening to develop that ground level ozone is when we start to see this diminish as we head towards mid to late afternoon and even into kind of 5 o'clock rush hour, early evening. So we're still anticipating that later today. One thing that really helps in trying to get this out of here would be some wind. Of course, we've had basically no wind all week. Won't really have much of a breeze today. Still think winds are pretty light tomorrow as well, but they do start to come up over the weekend. If nothing else, that should start helping our air quality ozone issues a little bit Saturday into Sunday and early next week. Some more wind to speak of as well. But the flip side is that comes with a little bit more of an active weather pattern and some more storm chances heading into the weekend. Temperatures across the state, another day here where it's a little cooler to the west, relatively speaking, than it is to the east. Some 70s in western Oklahoma, upper 80s already here at the lunchtime hour here in eastern Oklahoma. Here's a look at radar. You can see some showers and storms across Missouri into Arkansas. There's a weak cold front to our north and east that's actually dropping to the west and southwest. That's why we call it a backdoor cold front. It's kind of backing in from the opposite direction that you're used to seeing them come from. It's because of the upper level airflow. As that starts to approach the area, it'll be a little bit of a kind of trigger mechanism, focal point for thunderstorms to develop in our eastern counties later this afternoon. Another, here in Tulsa, another about 20% chance, which means that most of us will probably miss out, but there's an opportunity through the evening. We may actually see that go up slightly during the late night hours. And Future View highlights this pretty well. You can tell, I don't have the cold front painted on here, but I think you can tell where it is, kind of northwest to southeast area of showers and storms from Kansas into southern Missouri, and then I think we'll start seeing some of that drop south into southeast Kansas, areas near maybe down towards Grand Lake, mid to late afternoon and into the evening hours. Outside of it, pretty toasty, and highs around 90 to the low 90s. Now notice later tonight, some still lingering. The trend the last several days has been we hit sunset and pretty much everything goes away. It does look like we'll have some of these scattered showers and storms hanging on into the late night hours, especially if we get kind of a complex of storms going. That doesn't look like a whole lot on Future View, but if some of those storms get a little semi-organized, we may have a kind of a larger cluster of storms drop south. That'll eventually weaken with time. Tomorrow morning, similar story, we're back in the 60s, and then tomorrow afternoon, another flare-up of widely scattered showers and thunderstorms as that front will be kind of just stalled out in our area. Highs tomorrow, it'll still be pretty toasty, upper 80s to around 90 degrees, and again, with that front hanging around, that may cool a few folks off. Now, early into Saturday morning, notice this is when things start to change. I kind of let it roll a little bit slower on a little slower time scale so you can see what we're going to be keeping an eye on late Friday night. Looks like we're going to have a larger complex, a more organized complex of showers and storms develop in western Oklahoma as opposed to all this pop-up activity that we've had for days on end. That would be a more organized complex of storms early Saturday morning. It could have some gusty wind potential with it. Early outlook as we look towards Tulsa Tough. Again, that slight chance for storms tomorrow, Saturday morning and also Sunday morning. Look like they could have some storm potential with them. Still ironing out the exact timeline, but that's going to be, it looks like a potential to dodge those Saturday morning and Sunday morning over the upcoming weekend. And we may have to monitor a severe weather threat on Saturday as well. So as I mentioned, getting more active into the weekend after another toasty day today. Kind of the same story on Friday as well. Again, storm chances for the weekend. Another chance for storms shows up about Tuesday of next week as well.